What is going on YouTube? Hit back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video, we're going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as XRP to US dollar. We're also going to be looking at DueDEX as well as the current coin market cap. Specifically, in yesterday's video, we were discussing, as you can see here, which came out late, are we breaking out? Why is XRP Ripple and Bitcoin breaking out to the upside? Why are we swinging up about 3%? And I did want to just jump back on there and look at this. Yesterday's video specifically, I mentioned that this was just not necessarily a fluke, but it wasn't going to last long. This was just a big jump in correction from the ever so stagnant sideways trading market, and then we were probably going to start to see it dip back down very soon. And as I confirmed, the market is doing just that. I mean, even though we are still up in the current coin market cap for today's video, due to the fact that even in the 7-day graph and the 24-hour change in price is still higher than the previous one. But when you look at the actual markets itself, when you look at XRP, you can see that the drop is actually forming. You can see that XRP is actually dipping down. Ethereum is dipping down. So is Bitcoin, and so is Litecoin. So it's very obvious to see that these coins are actually trending lower now. And I do want to go in depth in today's episode discussing how much lower it's going to have and kind of what we should expect to see in the near future. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. This helps out the YouTube algorithm. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial. This way, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can just head over there and DM me relevant to cryptocurrency, the S&P 500, stock market, or anything of the sort. Otherwise, let's jump into today's episode. Alright, so like I said, yesterday's video, as you can see right here, we discussed why XRP Ripple and Bitcoin are breaking out, why they're actually moving in such volume, and is it going to last, and how much higher is it going to go. I discussed in depth yesterday that there was a good chance this wasn't going to continue on longer, and that those of you who are getting excited to anticipate more bull runs and bullish movements to the upside might want to hold off for a little bit longer, due to the fact that there's a good chance this market is going to switch back to being bearish very soon. And I do think we're in an ever so lasting long-term bear market, and that these small movements you're seeing right now shouldn't be a reflection or a reason to make you switch into a more bullish approach to the market. As you can see, like I said, the current coin market cap, yes, it is up fairly well. Majority of these coins are still up. I'd say on average about 4%. Some of these outliers like Bitcoin SV and Cardano, as well as they are performing, isn't something to base, considering they don't hold much value in the actual market cap itself. Bitcoin being $170 billion compared to something like Litecoin, which is $2.8 billion, is not something to really make that big of an impact on, especially even Cardano, $2.7 billion, not something I would worry too much about. But to jump into these cryptos, as you guys can see, everything is starting to correct lower. And that's basically what I wanted to discuss in today's episode. Now that we saw the big bullish rally to the upside, how long is it going to last? You can see that most of the cryptos that actually shot up, the top 3 or 4 cryptos that we normally talk about on the channel, became overbought in their 4-hour trading period. And you can see on the 4-hour charts that it became overbought above the 71 resistance on the relative strength indicators, showing signs of weakness right now, as the market is probably going to correct back down lower and head back down closer to its moving averages. And that is exactly what we're seeing here. This ultimately is going to be reflected in some of the other cryptocurrencies too, as well as when we extend our reach and extend our view, looking at now the daily charts, you can see that the price is actually starting to drop down, which is what we pretty much expected. This was definitely something that was very abrupt and very quick, and even though we did shoot up above the resistance, the 3-year resistance, it does not necessarily mean that it is going to last and it is going to stem to be a bullish breakout, because you can see in the past we have broken above here. You can see it right over here. We've closed above that, but ultimately we end up correcting down below it. Now the main key giveaway and the main key factor in this is paying attention to this candle as the weekly candle closes. Notice that we are still, yes, trading above the resistance, but we have 5 days and 13 hours left for it to really make the deciding factor as to which direction the coin would like to go to, because it can very easily at the last day close below here, and then we can trend lower and anticipate a break to the downside or a correction lower down to 14 cents. So you do have to play that into consideration. Now understand that there's a very high chance that if it does close close in the 5 days and 13 hours it has left above this resistance, this massive 3-year resistance, there is a very high chance that it is going to move back to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if the coin, being where it is able to close above here. We can easily see a correction or a swing to the upside close to 31 cents up to 62 cents, which was also mentioned in yesterday's video. But to now move away from XRP for just a couple of minutes, I want to show you guys specifically Bitcoin and how this can benefit you guys. Looking at Bitcoin right now, you can clearly see that we're at the top. Not only that, but I did draw some sort of bullish flag forming. You can see that our uptrend, our bottom support, and our top resistance, which is clearly having 4 points of contact now, affirming and confirming that this is a resistance and that this is a very strong one at that. Seeing 1, 2, 3, now 4 key resistance levels in the price is going to most likely funnel this into the gap here, finally filling it, and then we'll see the deciding factor as to which direction the coin is probably going to be moving to. So with that, when we once again extend our reach outwards, now that we're on 50 on the RSI, same thing on the weekly, you can see the small movement we had really is having no impact on the coin itself. We're still in what I believe is a long-term correction to the downside down to point E, is going to validate itself very soon as we start to see the closure of this candle after the next 5 days and 13 hours. You can see that if I zoom in on the daily again, that we literally just hit this top resistance and we are starting to, collapse back down in from support. 4 hours became oversold, as we know. As you can see right here on the 4 hour, we were retesting oversold. We were retesting overbought, and now we're starting to, collapse back down to closer to the moving averages. And I do believe we are going to be rejected, and we are not going to be able to withstand this uptrend, and we will most likely fall back down to 8,700, if not even lower, closer to the 7,000s for the coin. This is a huge opportunity to short the market, and given that I'm preparing myself on where is it? DueDEX. As you guys can see, DueDEX is something that I talk about every single day on the channel because of how important it is. DueDEX allows me to short cryptocurrency. It allows me to short Bitcoin as well as Ethereum and USDT or Tether. And given this opportunity, I can create post-onlys. I know that was a big question you guys had. How do you set limit orders that allow it to fill when the price is actually reached instead of ultimately filling when you click sell short? And it's very easy. It's literally clicking post-only. Now that I do have, money invested into my DueDEX account, 0.28 Bitcoin or about $3,000 USD. Given that I have 3,000 sitting in here, it is very easy now to prepare myself and to create a short in the market when the time is right, instead of waiting and sending my money in, waiting the few hours for it to finally clear and get processed and confirmed, and then missing out on a run. Extremely important to set this up. Link is in the description. Check it out down below. Having this tool in your toolbox will allow you to create a better percentage of investing and catching the dip, instead of waiting for my YouTube videos to try to copy exactly what I'm trading. All of those as well will be linked in my Patreon down below if you are interested in learning how exactly I'm trading cryptocurrency and how I'm making money off of a market that is falling and losing value. So it is extremely easy. This is a great platform to use as well. You can buy long, you can sell short. My Patreon explains the market orders, risk management, stop losses, take profits, everything under the sun, as well as leverage trading, which is a huge opportunity for people that don't want to invest a ton of money and actually capitalize off big movements using a smaller margin. So it's pretty awesome. Definitely make sure to check this out down below. But to move on to the other cryptocurrencies like Litecoin as well as XRP, Litecoin and Ethereum, you can see that we do have this big resistance, and surprisingly we actually managed to break outside of it, which was very interesting. You can clearly tell though that there are other areas of this coin that have actually been hit, and it's very easy to actually just adjust this to what could be the right movement, something along the lines like this. Very easy to move that doesn't really change much, and there's a good chance that's probably how the resistance was supposed to be. So with that knowledge, you can see we actually didn't break out of here, and it does confirm with the prior retests of the market that this is still a valid resistance. Ultimately, we are still getting funneled into here. You can see that volume is heavily died off, and as we get funneled into here, we are at some point going to come to a meeting with a bunch of volume, and we will decide which direction it is going to be breaking to. Ultimately, I'm fairly bearish on the market following Bitcoin, the big blue chip cryptocurrency. There's a very high chance that we are going to swing to the downside, even on Ethereum, as you can see, which is another big coin trading at number, I believe, 3 on the current coin market cap, or actually number 2 now, which is amazing. Bumped out Tether and it bumped out XRP. The fact that Ethereum is trading as a resistance as well shows me reason to believe that there's a good chance we're going to see a bearish break. You can clearly see as I zoom in to the weekly what exactly I'm referring to. You can clearly see that it is in the same boat as Bitcoin, hitting its resistance up top here. As you can see, resistance, and then once again more resistance here. This ultimately is showing signs of weakness. As we hang out longer and longer at a top resistance, it is bound to get rejected and swing to the downside easily, affirming $200 closer to 208, if not pulling all the way back down to its bottom support, which you can see is right here, and probably retesting a price closer to 146. Ultimately, I am still long-term bearish. Otherwise, let me know if you have changed your mind down in the comments below. Let me know if you see this differently than I do. I'd love to hear your opinions, so definitely make sure to comment it down below. Otherwise, that's going to wrap up today's episode. If you are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.